there was one VBAC seminar also attended where it was told the risk of dying in a car accident in Kuwait is 20%, whereas the risk of having a VBAC is less than 0.1. I'm like, we don't stop driving after reading that, and 20% and 0.1 is, I don't stop driving, right? Then why should I stop? But if it's less than 0.1, why should I stop thinking of a VBAC? That's what I thought, and that made sense. Yeah.
This is the Birth Agni podcast, the fire that brings us alive, that burns myths and opens a channel of authentic natural birth stories. This show debunks the many myths of the medicalized births, showcases the plethora of choices a pregnant couple can make to embark on their empowered birth journey. I'm Divya Kapoor, a certified birth and lactation counselor and an aspiring traditional birth attendant. Let's get the flames blazing high. Hello, the sun is here. It's spring and it's beautiful. I love the sun, like I said before. The winter was getting on my nerves this time, although I love winters. But this time it was trying to see, to wait for the sun, right? My body needed sun. My spirit needed sun. And I'm so happy for sun to be here. And Divi has been going out to the park with me, looking at the trees and the plants and seeing that some of them do not have any leaf, and some of them have leaves, new, bright green, light green, beautiful green leaves on them. And she's been asking me, why is that? And I love answering them. It's enjoyable to be able to answer those questions because it makes you think. It makes me think. Today we have Mubina's story, the second part to it, which is the details of the labor and the post birth events. It can be a bit stirring to certain people, and it can be healing to a lot of you out there as well. And this episode is really, really special. I did also get a feedback that I should have part 1 and part 2 together. So I am going to have the episodes that do have part 1 and part 2 less spaced out. I do this weekly. The episodes come out every week, but there is no set date to it, or day to it rather. So I'm trying to have them out all on Wednesdays, like it began this season 4 with birth stories began. Let's see. But I do need your love. I do need your support. If you enjoy listening to this podcast, please consider giving it a rating on Spotify or Apple. Feel free to drop a review, anything even a feedback if you like. And that would be really helpful. That will help this reach more and more people. And now, on to the story.
Eid, yeah. Then the afternoon around 3 o'clock, I started the contraction started feeling pattern to my body, and I informed tapasya कि okay, after the few days of mucus plug, now I'm feeling the contractions and they are patterned to my body. Initially, they were not so strong. Like I could bear them, but I wanted her around, so I told her, you can leave, you can come. And if I informed her at 3 o'clock, she was going to arrive at around 9:10 in the night. I mean, because it was 7-8 hour journey for her from Nanded. Um, so she's on her way. She told us that it'll take time. Because a week back, all the doulas also had told me it takes time for the body to open up. And this is the first time for me I'm going to experience, so it's going to take time. So I was expecting anything like 3 or 5 days. It can go long. I mean, I'm not certain how long it will go. She came and visited me. She reached. The contractions started. They felt pattern to the body. I got them maybe. I started timing them. I got them like 10 minutes apart, irregular 5 minutes apart, here and there. At night, they were picking up. So she asked me, should I come now or should I rest and come in the morning? I'm like, no, you come and see me right now. I wanna see you. So she came. She met me. I think she was along with us. She slept along with us at home. She thought maybe I'm going to deliver the Eid morning, the next morning, from afternoon till morning, because the contractions had picked up at night and I was in pain. Till then, my husband had contacted a doula friend in Kuwait, and she told him to do rebizo for her. that is
Hmm.
sifting using a cloth
Rebozo, yeah,
in a
yeah,
big
yeah. It's a
dupatta. Yeah,
Mexican,
rebozo.
yeah, Mexican shawl which is used for
Yeah,
helping with contraction, various uses, helping with labor pain,
yeah,
moving the baby, etc., etc.
yeah. Because my contractions were getting painful at night. And she
Mm.
sent me a video on how to do it, and he was doing it for me, the repose. So it felt okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a distraction while you're in labor, at least to take that pain away from you. And then I tried the comb technique as well. I was holding the comb in my
Mm.
hand. So even I felt that was a distraction from the pain, and I was able to focus on something else. So,
This time, how did it feel? So the first time you could feel your belly contracting. Uh, Specifically, you could feel it horizontally and
yeah, upwards.
huh,
Yeah.
huh. And this time, how
Vertically,
it
no.
was?
This time I felt it was through. There was a lot more intense pain, and these contractions were coming and going. They're like waves going up and down, up and down. You understand what I'm trying to say? And then
Mm.
there's a break, and
It
then
will
again
build
going
up.
up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, build up and
And
then
it was
fade
building
away.
upwards. Yes.
Ah.
And they were more downwards because by then my baby had lowered quite a lot.
Mm.
So it was more focused downwards. The burn I was feeling downwards. It was like a whole gravity pulling something down. You understand what I'm trying to say?
हाँ,
That's the way the
धक्का जैसे
contractions.
जैसे कुछ धक्का लग रहा है नीचे की तरफ, कुछ
हाँ, नीचे
धक्का
कोई पत्थर ऐसे कुछ खींच रहा है नीचे, no? I
हाँ,
could feel the whole pull on my spine as well, all the way. My whole spine could feel that pull downwards in some
हुँ,
of those contractions.
ओके,
Um, the contractions were building up at night. She came in, then she said maybe subah ho jayenge. We can't say for certain now. Depends on how the contractions pick up. Next day morning, it didn't happen. रात में the contractions are pretty strong, and by the time the daylight hit, early morning, again they started reducing. As in, they started becoming far apart in the daytime. So
हुँ,
I was told that because of the melatonin secretion, the
हुँ,
dark, the contractions are stronger at night
stronger,
than at day.
yes.
I think that's how it worked for me.
Yeah, we are a mammal,
Um, uh,
so we need privacy
yeah,
to birth, which is why night they pick up, and daytime they are not as strong usually, but different for different people.
strong. Yeah,
Hmm.
that stage. But I was not
Mm,
able to take the contractions on the bed. I was not able to sleep through the night. I was able to take the contraction on the floor, on my fours. So every time I was getting contraction, I was getting up from the bed, I was going on the floor, and I was going on my fours. That was the only comfortable position I had. And hip squeezes.
hmm,
The hip squeezes was giving me comfort. And after every third contraction, I was even having a vomiting bout. So the
hmm,
contractions were making me vomit as well. So
hmm,
first contraction, then second contraction, and third contraction, I was having a proper vomiting bout. So they were getting, I mean, in the bucket, they were collecting the vomit, washing it away. So they all were like on duty that night. Daytime, again, they settled. Mm, Contractions were far apart. She was there with me. I was getting a hang of them. I was feeling better. Okay, okay, this is happening. It's rolling. And daytime, I felt okay. I was able to bear the pain. I couldn't. I mean, I was lying down, eating, drinking, electrolyte dates. Everything was going on.
hmm,
Anticipating. I was anxious as well. But then, yeah, um, working towards the birth and walking around, staying active. I did staircases. I walked around. Tapasya held my hand, and we walked through staircases up and down across the building. Yeah, again, night folded in and contractions picked up. Evening, I think after sunset, they picked up again and even stronger this night.
hmm.
And
Were you checked?
that was,
Were you checked so far internally? What was it? Was the
no, I didn't want any check. I didn't
Mhm,
want any check. She had taught me to use the fetoscope just in case
mhm,
for an heartbeat in one of the previous appointment. And I think once or twice she did check using the fetoscope for the heartbeat, but I didn't want any checks. I just wanted to birth the baby, and um, yeah, because even those have side effects. Like even the waves of the fetoscope are not good
yeah, yeah, the
sometimes
Doppler.
for the baby.
Yes.
So she had just taught, yeah, me. But I used to feel the baby and the movements and all. So those those indications were enough for me to move on in my
Mm,
pregnancy.
mm,
Um, by evening, I told her you can take a break. I think she had a brother in, she had one of her relative in Pune. I told her, you can take a break. I think I'm getting a hang of these contractions. I'll be okay. You can take a break and you can leave me for a while and I should be fine. She asked me, do you want me to check you? Just so that I know how far away I can go and how soon I need to get back to you. I never wanted any vaginal checks, but just because I was letting her have a break so she comes back refreshed to me. I said, okay, fine, I'll allow you. I could trust her with that. Okay, you can give me a check. And she told me I was beyond 5-6 centimeters dilated and effaced as well quite a lot. And she told me, I can feel the baby's head. Most likely you'll deliver soon. Like, in by morning or so your delivery will happen. And she took the break. And I didn't even call her. I told her, you can come by around night 9-10, and then we'll see what happens. You can sleep in my house. She was staying in my house itself. So
Hmm.
one night I didn't let them sleep. This is the second night that rolled in, and the contractions got pretty intense again this night. Uh, it was getting hard. I was roaring in pain. I was yelling in pain, and they were getting closer. Like
Hmm.
by 2 or 3, they got very close. They were not giving me a break, possibly like 30 seconds break, and
Hmm.
again, and 30 seconds break, and I was getting frustrated. Like, when is this going to stop? How many more contractions? She comes back. She's like, few more. Like, she's giving me a number, maybe 10 more or 20 more, and it should be done. And I'm like, that's giving me relief. And I'm thinking, should I go to the hospital? But I'm like yelling in so much pain. I don't know if I'll reach, and how will I yell? It's night, 2 o'clock. How will I yell on the roads and reach the
Hmm.
hospital? I'm having these thoughts in between. I'm
Hmm.
telling them, please give me something to stop this right now. Uh, I mean, some injection that just stops these
Hmm.
contractions. I can't take this pain anymore. And they're trying to console me. No, these contractions are getting, I mean, this purpose for these contractions, they're getting you closer to your baby. You're going to do it. They're calming me down with positive words.
Hmm.
I tried, since there was no electricity in the house as well that night. Mom was heating water. I wanted to try a I mean, a bath, a warm bath, just to see if the pain is being lifted. But then it didn't calm me down. I just wanted to walk around. I wanted to squat and walk and around the house. That's what my body was telling me to do. I think
Hmm.
every moment that happens, your body tells you what to do, what you want to
What
do
to
now,
do?
what you want to do next. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's
the
like
baby also
yeah,
communicates
your
this
body
to
is
the
not
body.
in your hands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
your body is just not in your hands. You feel there is some external force putting those contracts. There's Allah, there's God that is putting those contractions in you, and something is happening. Your body is just not in your hands and in your control. Uh, so yeah, that's how the night went by, and uh, where was I? I'm
Yeah, it
recollecting the
was very
nights.
intense, and Tapasa came back and she said 10 more, 20 more, and it
Yeah, 10 more, 20 more. I remember they were trying to tell me to rest as well so that I would be recharged. The night went through. I'm yelling at mom, I'm in pain, do something, mom. Like, mom is unmoved. She's reading Quran, she's unmoved. Just because when the contraction is coming, I want my husband to squeeze on the backside on the hips, and because they're sleepy and I've exhausted them, by the time they come, it's a bit delayed, and
uh,
they're trying to come to me, and I'm telling them, no, it's too late now. It's
mhm.
on time. The
It's
contraction
done.
has already gone
Let the
away.
next one be.
That I remember. They were trying to train me as well.
Mm.
Both Tapasya, mom, they were trying to they were trying to train me to take on the contractions just by myself,
And not
so
fight
that
it.
I would be a very confident move. Yeah, I would be a confident woman taking it on all by myself, like breathing, finding my calm. But no, that was not possible. Like, I couldn't get there. I wanted someone. I wanted to yell in pain, and I wanted someone to
Mm.
just hear me out.
Roaring helped
I
you,
couldn't.
no?
Huh?
Roaring and yelling helped you.
Yeah, I did. I couldn't silent. Yeah. In
Mm.
fact, there was a point I remember roaring in the night at 2 o'clock, and I was like, no, the neighbors are going to complain to the watchman. The watchman is going to come in labor. I'm talking all of this in my painful labor, and they're looking at me. My husband is, no one's coming. You roar, you yell how much ever you want. No one is coming and no one is complaining.
Mm,
So yeah, roaring did. I mean, it was an energy that was just trying to expand out. Roaring did help me. I was sweating in labor. There were parts I felt cold as well. I think you do go through hot, cold, but a
mm,
lot of it felt like an exothermic reaction. A lot of heat that's generated out of your body during labor. Yeah. Towards the end, I could feel the spine, like contractions pulling down from my spine, and the baby trying to pull downwards. And early morning before the break of dawn, I finally had the urge to push. I finally
ah,
had the urge to push. I felt I have, and it felt relief. The pushing stage didn't feel painful for me at all. It was a relief. It's like I'm pushing now. I had
mm,
5 pushes. I had a vision. There was a chatai in my. I was not comfortable birthing on the bed. There was like a chatai, a thick razai, a
mhm,
mattress in
mhm,
my room. I wanted to, and it was old one, so I wanted to birth on that mattress. Um, so I told them. I first I got on the floor. I thought, let me try on the floor. But then I think they had applied some coconut oil on me. I can't recollect where.
mm,
Maybe on they massaged my legs with coconut oil for
mm,
to help me calm down. So the floor felt a bit slippery. So I'm like, can I get the because I had the vision of birthing on that mattress. I called, can I get the mattress, please? And I told my husband to sit in front of me. I was holding his shoulders. I had 5 pushes. It's like the pushes felt like the baby like coming down and up. So the first and then second, and every time it would come down, the next push it felt even lower and then even lower. So on the third push, I was like, why is the baby going back up in those pushes? I was not doing anything. My body was doing everything on its own. The first push, and then the second one, and then the third one, and then I'm like, I want to squeeze her out. Like, I just want to squeeze her out. No, and Tapasya noticed this. I am voluntarily pushing. Like, I'm forcing and pushing the baby
mm,
out. She told me, Mubina, don't push. Your body will do its job. Like,
mm. Breathe,
like I'm gonna
breathe
tear. She's
through
like,
it.
no, you're not gonna tear. Just breathe,
Mm,
and you're gonna be okay.
mm,
And I did the knees out. I remember I was squatting with the knees out. This is the pelvis has more space and the knees are out than when the knees are in, right? So I was in
yes.
that position. And the fourth
Kiko.
push, the what? Yeah, Kiko,
Mm,
exactly. At the fourth push, the baby's head came out and the water broke together.
mm,
So, and then I told my husband to touch the baby's head. The baby's head is out. And then on the fifth push, the entire baby was on the
wow.
floor along with the placenta. I mean, on the mattress, along with the placenta. And she gave out her first cry instantly. And that's my
Ah,
mom was in the other room with the kids, and she noted the time. She understood what time I birthed, and the first cry that she heard in the morning, she understood. Yeah,
wow. I
that
want
was my
to
birth, and
highlight that
yeah,
baby moves, comes down. Baby uses the head. Baby you constantly uses a motion when the head goes down and feels slightly back up. Head goes down and slightly back up. The baby is still descending. Because recently at a birth, uh,
yeah.
the doctor said, it's strange. I'm seeing that the baby has gone back up. There's a motion that baby does to
Okay.
come down. That's how it
Even I
happens.
didn't know that till I
The baby actually does this.
okay. It's when I experienced it, I realized that even when I, yeah, come and then it, okay. Oh,
Mm.
okay. I felt it was coming down and going up. That's the way it felt. Okay.
Gail does this. That's
Okay.
how
Oh,
she's
interesting.
so the baby does this motion to
Trying to come down.
and it's the baby's way of and every baby is
Okay.
different. Maybe to some it doesn't feel like that. So but that's how individualist and that's how there's a whole human being down there, right? It's not possible that the baby gets
Yeah.
goes up and gets back into the uterus. Have we ever seen that? I don't know.
I don't, yeah. I
Can
don't think so.
anybody
Yeah. But then
reverse? No.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless a woman is, I don't know, scared to give birth, but I don't know. I don't think so. That should happen. Yeah.
Babies get stuck and mostly in OP position. It does happen. The labor is more
Okay.
towards like it's more of a back labor. It can be intense, but it's not necessary that every OP baby has a difficulty and gets stuck. Also, there are ways with OP babies. Also, there are many OP babies that can just be born. Um, similarly to how other babies are born. We can't pinpoint and say just because it's this, it's gonna be this. There is a place
Yeah.
for magic. There is a place um for God to do things.
Letting
Yeah.
birth unfold just the way it's supposed to unfold.
It's
That's the way you should
supposed
just leave
to.
a woman, let a free birth. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Honestly. And that's when I got up, I touched my scar, and I was like, wow, I didn't dare. Those fears. I remember that fear had got to me in labor. No matter how much strong and how prepared I was, I did have at a point in labor where I was yelling, I'm gonna tear, I'm gonna die, I'm dying, right? Those are the questions I was asking in labor. And Tapasya did tell me that your scar was if your scar was to rupture, you would have shown signs earlier,
Hmm.
because your belly has stretched 9 months now. It's most likely you're gonna have a smooth delivery, inshallah. Like if there were any issues, if there were red flags, they would have had come up earlier, where you would have had sharp abdominal pain. And I read a lot on the risk of uterine rupture. I knew what signs to look for. I had heard podcasts on those. I had read stories with ruptures and how they happen. And majority, I did find stories had interventions in them, either
Exactly.
pitocin or some induction.
Yes.
And I was reading them, so I was aware, I was prepared on that front.
Yeah.
And the risk was very low when I read. It's like less than 1%, like very, very less. And in a home birthing scenario, you have a 90% chance of success. But if you're trying to go to a hospital, it I mean, I think it goes down to 60%, because in a hospital then you have lights, you have a lot of interventions. Moving out
And
of the house is your first intervention. Yeah.
Pitocin has a far more chance of having your uterus rupture, which is why they've stopped doing inductions for VBACs. They don't do it. But a body is smart. Body knows, right? Body knows that there is something that I
Yeah.
need to. The body healed itself, so body knows how to work with the uterus, and the uterus changes to prep for delivery. There is
Mm.
physical change that happens in the uterus, so it's 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 very less likely for the uterus to rupture when the woman goes into labor all by herself and it unfolds all by itself. And yeah, like you said, it's more likely that a uterus will rupture when an artificial drug is given. That puts the body in
Yeah.
shock.
There was one BPAC seminar also attended, where it was told the risk of dying in a car accident in Kuwait is 20%, whereas the risk of having a VBAC is less than 0.1. I'm like, we don't stop driving after reading that, and 20% and 0.1 is, I
Yeah,
don't stop driving, right? Then why should I stop? But if it's
absolutely.
less than 0.1, why should I stop thinking of a VBAC? That's what
Yeah.
I thought, and that made sense. Yeah.
Hmm. How was your husband's reaction when the baby was born, and how was everybody's reaction, and how did you feel? Yes, you just.
I was still trying to process it. Yes, I wanted to celebrate. I uh, I birthed her. They got me on the bed. I delivered the placenta as well. They got me on the bed. It was break of dawn. My husband has colored eyes, so the first thing I wanted to notice, if her eyes were open. I wanted to notice whether she's come with colored eyes or not. I have got three kids with colored eyes and one brown like mine.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the first rays of sunlight were hitting through the window, and I could see her eyes, which are again emerald green in color. I like, okay, she is colored eyed. And I had the morning 1 hour golden hour skin to skin with her. Then my husband took her skin to skin, and I remember she turning her face and telling her dad, "Give me back to mama. My mama's there. Give me back to her." And I was like, "Whoa, he said that." And she was turning her head and pointing in that direction.
She
Give
wants
me
to be
back to
with
my
you.
mom. Yeah,
Ah,
she wants to be with me. And I was talking, so she could hear that, and she was turning her head on this side. So yeah, they were cleaning up, but then I was telling them, I think I've exhausted you guys. I have not let you all sleep. It's better if you all take rest. And I'll do the cleanup. I mean, the cleanup can happen days later.
hmm,
I can call up somebody and get the cleanup done. And that can happen days later. I mean, I had mucus plug at places, and I had a bit of blood at places.
hmm.
So I had the hospital pads and all. But then birth is messy, and it's
Yeah,
gonna still
birth is
mess
messy.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
it's gonna
why,
mess
yeah.
around few places. So I told them, I think I've exhausted you all enough. Please, you'll go have your rest. And breastfeeding, I've exclusively breastfed 3 or 4 of my kids.
You
So
kind of knew.
I felt it would be an easy start. I knew how to start with that journey, and I thought it would be an easy start. So I tried feeding her. She was active. She was sleeping, getting up. Um, my husband, they started informing everyone that okay, I had the birth. People started congratulating. I informed my friends, and uh, yeah, I had video calls with few, and they were congratulating. Uh, I could see her expelling her fluids out as well naturally. This is the first time I could see her after she was born. She was
Amazing.
expelling her fluids. The hospital trauma did get to me. Like I had to sort of remind myself I've had a normal birth and I can move this time because I was on the bed and I felt I've had another cesarean because I've been through 4 cesareans. I
Mm.
felt I couldn't move. I'm lying on the bed and I'm like, no, I'm reminding myself I can move, I can walk, I can use the washroom. This time it's not a cesarean. So a
Mm.
bit of the hospital trauma did play on me, the C-section trauma.
Mm.
But
Did you
then
have a
I could
tear?
talk to myself.
Did you have a
No, I
tear?
didn't have a tear at all. No, I didn't have a tear at
48
all.
hours
So
of
she was born.
labor and no tear.
36. I had 36
36.
hours of labor and
Mm.
no tear. Just I had just few cuts on my the
Lacerations.
vaginal
Yeah.
flaps, just few cuts here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but no tear at all. And perineum was sore. That's
It's
regular. I still
normal.
felt as if there's something down there. Yeah, that's normal. That took
Mm.
a bit time. It healed on its own. Yeah, it did heal on its own.
Mm.
Then I had my first meal because I was continuously vomiting 2 days, and I even realized, like, even despite of the vomiting, at some point I felt, won't I need a glucose? Like, won't I need an IV or a glucose? They were
Mm.
like, no, you're fine. I mean,
You were
as long as
taking
you're,
fluids, right? You were taking fluids. You were
yeah, I was
hydrating
taking
yourself
fluids. Yeah, I was
throughout,
hydrating and I was eating, but I was still throwing up.
throwing up.
I mean, in the hospital, it's a complete different scenario. It's like no
Mm.
eating, no drinking. You're only on IVs and you're only on glucose. So this was a
Yeah.
completely different scenario for me to
You
experience
were
and
able
watch.
to
Like,
eat.
wow, that's a power.
Yeah. You were able to eat through the vomiting also, no? After.
I was able to eat, but I would
Mm.
again throw it up. But they're like,
Mm.
you can still eat as long as you're getting the energy, whatever
Mm.
little bit is
Yeah.
resisting.
Because
And
that's
yeah,
important. Huh.
uh, we um, we named her Zainab. We had decided to name her Zainab. She was talking to the kids. She was talking to them. It felt normal. Tapasya checked her. Everything felt normal. Um, yeah, since they all were tired, they wanted to catch rest. I was trying to breastfeed her. I was struggling initially, but I was squeezing milk from my breast and trying to feed her. She passed stool, and as usual, babies sleep, get up, sleep, get up.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
what happens, right? On the initial days, we ask for milk. She was, yeah, she was crying normally, and evening, yeah, I was just retiring to bed. I thought I'll just check on her and I'll try to feed her once again. I knew the pattern of how babies get up every 2 hours or 3 hours in the night. Like I know, I was anyways on a birth high,
Mm.
but I wanted to catch some rest because it was a long, torrid labor. It was a hard labor, and yeah, when I was trying to check on her at night at around 8 or 9, and I realized she felt different. Uh, I felt she wasn't moving, and I called my husband. I'm like, can you please come and check on her? And yeah, I think she had passed away by then in her sleep. That was her life. That was her lifespan in this world.
Mm.
Uh, we did panic. My mom also did feel, but then they wanted to cross check. They took her to the hospital. I called Tapasya. She checked her, like, yeah, she did pass stool
Mm.
twice, and I fed
Mm.
her a few drops of milk. And my husband did CPR, like the mouth to mouth respiration and uh, breathing. And yeah, he took her to the hospital, and she was proclaimed she was proclaimed dead by then. So
Mm.
yeah, that was her loss. And yeah, we lost her. I think after she was there for a day, she played with us. She was happy. She was talking, and she left us in a very short time. Mm, then they came back and yeah, they couldn't get her um, because they wanted to investigate the cause of the death, and it took. I mean, she was going to be back next morning. I couldn't process everything because for me, the labor. I mean, it was a short time that I seen her, and I wanted to process the labor, the birth, and then I was faced with the loss. So it was too much for my mind to handle and cope with everything. So I was pretty much numb. I was taking it like a day at a time. I didn't know what happened and where I went wrong.
Hmm.
Um, like I had no answers, and uh, yeah. Next day Tapasya, I informed Tapasya as well. I informed couple of my friends as well, and they had very warm messages. Some had they had very warm messages that came through. They told me she just came in this world just to show how strong her mother was, and somewhere when I felt she's in a better place than me, like she's in paradise. She's straight to paradise. She will not have her deeds accounted for. She's in a much better place than what all of us are in. She's free from the pains of this world. She's free from everything.
Yeah.
That's what I felt for her. Well, my whole house was crying, and they're like, they're missing her. I do feel the void that she's not around, but they couldn't they couldn't have her. They were crying, and I had friends who tell me, please you cry as well. I like, okay, I will cry too. you, I'm making you cry now. I called Tapasya. She was leaving to Delhi next day, and she asked me, Mubina, I'm coming. I'm like, no, you can leave. I think I'll manage this. You can, if your bus is booked, you can leave. You don't have to come to me anymore. Mm. She came back home. She's like, I'm sorry. This happened because of me. I'm like, no, this happened because of you.
Yeah.
You were the only person who told me a yes to birth. I'm never going to blame this on you. I mean, I have faith. I have faith in God. I know this was her life, and
Yeah.
and uh, yeah, everyone has a lifespan, and that's how much she was meant to live. Uh,
Yeah.
that's how much she was meant to live on this earth. That's what I told her.
Yeah.
I remember she
And
was talking to the girls outside. Sorry, yeah, tell me.
no, I'm saying all her like processes after birth and everything, the way you're explaining, she was functioning very well for a newborn, the way you
Yeah,
explaining. And did the hospital come back and say anything? Did they kind of figure out anything?
I
Of
didn't
course,
look
I'm
for
sure.
any answers. No, I didn't look
Yeah.
for any answers honestly because I didn't want to look for any answers. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, when
Hmm.
someone's gonna pass away, someone's gonna pass away. I
Yeah.
don't really want like even if I die, I don't want people to ask me, oh, what was the reason? What was the reason? Like
Yeah.
that that was my life. That's how much I lived. So I
Yeah.
didn't really look for any reasons.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, and we buried her, and yeah, I mean, as everything, you have family who passes positive comments. You have every sort of comment. Why did she do it at home?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to do it at home. I trust the process. I enjoyed home birth, and I would wish it for every woman. Honestly, it's
Absolutely.
so much peaceful. It's so much peaceful in your own bedroom. You can decorate it the way you want. You can birth the way you want. I would wish. And hospital is. I mean, it might be there for a purpose, but it is torture. It is trauma. It is honestly torture and
Mm.
trauma. I don't know how people find it easy, but no, it's not.
It's no, it's not.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And your children could see the birth. That's amazing,
My
yeah.
children were asleep through the night. They were
Hmm.
in all the yelling. They were asleep, but in the morning, when she was born and she was crying, she gave her first cry. They all woke up one by one to see her and see the birth, and they knew I had a. In fact, I remember that one year I'm homeschooling my kids. That one year I didn't touch many other subjects. I wanted them to give them the subject of birth. I wanted them to learn the subject of birth, just the
Yeah.
baby growing and me birthing that baby, and a lesson of biology. Like this is a real life lesson for
Yeah.
you all. So I kept all the other subjects at bay.
That's very
And I'm glad.
important.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I was healing, recovering from the labor. My
Mm.
perineum was sore. Tapasya was back. She watched our whole process, the way we give a bath and
Mm.
everybody. She was there for a couple of hours again with us. And then she left. She wasn't touched. Departing, I remember she left when she left me in the morning. Departing from her also was very hard. She was weeping. She was like, I'm attached to you guys for the past 3 days and over the course of 6 months that we were communicating. And even I felt that um, departing away from her was hard. There were days I just want to talk to her. I wanted to be with her. And I was like, if she literally felt like the mother to me who held my hand, who showed me what birth was, and who carried it so beautifully. And these are the things that the woman of your family or your mom is supposed to do for you, but she did it for me. So I'm very proud that I met her. Some days I wondered, I was like, if our women in the house conduct these births for their daughters or for the children, like, you can imagine the attachment that we would have or the bond that we would have with our mothers. It
Yeah.
would be irrepressible. Following, I wanted to come back then to Kuwait because initially my plan was I'll get some checks for her done at the hospital after a few days, get the birth registered, wait for her passport. I had 2-3 months for all the procedures to get over
Mm.
if she was living. And I know my husband's grandmother, she would call me every week to check on me on how everything is going on. If I'm going to the doctor, I didn't tell her I'm going to have a home birth, but she would call and check on me every week. So I wanted to go to his grandmother so that she could play with the baby. I had these things in mind.
Mm.
But since she wasn't alive anymore, so I didn't feel like going anywhere. I just wanted to come back home. I wanted to come back to Kuwait and told my husband I think I'm ready to go
Mm.
back to Kuwait. In a week, he still told me you rest for a week and then I'll book tickets. We'll see how you're doing and then we'll book tickets. And when I drove from the airport to home, everything felt like a dream. All those days in India felt as if it was just a dream because it all happened in another country, and I couldn't believe something like that even happened. Like they were just memories.
Mm.
They were just memories. Yeah, a lot of things. Yeah, some comments I want to mention some comments that I received. I had some relatives. I remember my uncle, his words were very comforting. He told me he's blessed with five children. So his comforting words were, Mubina, not a problem. You don't have to lose your heart over this. I'm sure someday you will beat my score. Like, I
Mm.
have five, you'll have more than me. I was like, that's so sweet. It was very sweet to hear. I had some who said, uh, I think you should go and get your parts checked. I think you should go to a gynec and get your parts checked. And I'm like,
God,
what's wrong with my parts?
that's horrific.
I didn't like hearing that. And I'm like, what parts? Like, I felt like, am I a car that I need to get my parts checked? Like,
Exactly.
uh,
That's why we forget that there's some sort of a spirituality to birth and death. I mean, let's be dignified enough
yeah,
for birth. When we celebrate birth, let's be dignified when we're talking about something
yeah,
as sensitive as death is. Birth is sensitive, death is sensitive.
yeah,
And it's all a part of the
yeah,
same
true.
circle. We can't have a
Yeah,
handle on any of it.
anything, yeah, true. When you're providing support, if you're passing any comments, people should think before, especially if a family has been through loss. People should think before passing any comments. I mean, if you're being of any help, it's better. If not, just stay quiet. Like no one needs to hear from you if you want to pass a negative comment.
Mm. Especially
They
when
need
you
to be
do not
sensitive
know
about it.
anything. People don't know, they come from a blank space and blabber their way and satisfy their egos and move ahead. It's a harsh world.
True.
But I'm so thankful, Mubina, so
Yeah,
thankful to you for doing this and for sharing your story, for sharing the beauty of it all, the wisdom of it all, the spirituality, the surrender. It's it's beautiful.
yeah.
It's lovely.
At the end, all when me and my husband sit to discuss, all we say is that uh, her birth was beautiful, she was beautiful, and her death was beautiful. That's the way we describe it. That's the way
And there's
describe
strength in it.
between the and I think. That's the best that we did. Yeah, of course, there is strength in it. I remember the first few women who came in touch with me that year were all women who had losses. And they had losses in the hospitals and they wanted to blame the doctors for the loss. Can you imagine? They had C-sections and loss, and they had a
Oh
loss.
God, you met those people because the God was telling you that it's not your
Yeah,
choices. It's something that I do. It's not your choice. Oh my God.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was sitting and hearing this woman, and I was strengthened further. I'm like, okay, like it's harder for them because they had a C-section and a loss, and they're blaming the doctor. And like, whom am I to blame? I'm not gonna blame anybody. It just
You
happened. Yeah,
you gave us such a
and
beautiful um entry to this world, and the stay was serene and beautiful. And I think you said this to Tapasya. I think she told me that she passed away in her sleep. So there was
yeah,
no trauma to her. So
yeah. I remember my sister telling me as well. Had you been to the hospital? Uh, be happy she was at home. Had you been to the hospital, you wouldn't have even got that day with her. Your kids wouldn't have had got that day with her. So you have memories with her for a day that is so precious to you all. Had this been in the hospital, she would have been taken away from you, and you would have no memory of her whatsoever. So I'm so happy for it.
yeah,
That's what
love
my
that.
sister told me.
Love that. And I
Mm,
have heard this people who start surrendering to that power, that they start seeing signals. They don't have to find answers. Something
yeah,
just tells them. It comes through people. It comes through voices. It comes around in various ways. So we have to just trust being a part of this, that we are a part of this nature more than anything else outside of our um, egocentric minds and powers and technology and blah blah blah. That has never solved anything.
at some point in labor, I even remember Tapasya telling me, very close to birth, she told me, I'm sure your ancestors up above are so proud of you with what you're doing. And
Yes.
I was moved with that comment. Yeah, I still remember that. In fact, I even remember my husband's grandfather is on his, I mean, he's on his last days for a couple of, he's just on his bed. He doesn't speak much, and he heard of it, and he, a person who doesn't speak at all, he called up and he said, I had named my daughter Zainab. He told us, he passed a message to his son that I had a sister named Zainab as well who passed away. I mean, can you imagine someone who is
That's your husband's sister?
my husband's grandfather? Like he
Grandfather's
was on
sister.
his, yeah, yeah, he had a sister named Zainab who passed away. That was just his one line, and that's what I heard from him, and I'm like, okay.
Says so much.
Just,
Says so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like some people are meant for earth, some people are meant for heaven.
Yeah, and they come for their own reasons. We are here. You are here for your own story that will play a part karmically with someone else's. You had that experience, so you could be a part of someone else's experience and do your job on this earth. Same with me, same with
Yeah,
her, same with her, like you said, and it's 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 a beautiful thing to look at it with so much strength, with so
yeah, it's
much
like,
love, with with so much positivity that it empowers you and it empowers people down the line. It's it's lovely.
yeah, I never felt like staying shut about my story despite the loss. I'm like, even though she's left me alone, I am going to tell my story. I am going to expose the ugly truths of the American world to those who want to believe it. I know the many who don't. But yeah, these are the ugly truths, and they are real. They're definitely real.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself and trust your body. And God has created a passage for you to birth. Then why would you deny that passage? Like, where's your faith gone when you deny that passage and Birth is a free process. In fact, if you think of it, it's free. You don't have to pay anybody to pay to birth. It's
Yeah,
just absolutely free.
yeah, hopefully.
Mm.
Mm.
Yes.
I'm very grateful to you, Mubina, and I'm very thankful to you for doing this. Thank you. For this particular episode, if you have any questions or any thoughts that you want to share, you can do it directly over the email to me. You can write to me, as well as you can use the prompt on the Spotify app and write to me your answer, which is your question or feedback there. And it doesn't go public. If you want to keep it anonymous, you can email me, or if you write there that that's anonymous, it doesn't go public unless I do it. So I keep track of that. So feel free to do that. I think Mubina would be happy to answer your questions, and I can read them out in the next episode if you do. There is a field beyond fear, where the body is empowered to take on labor and birth. To land there, it is crucial to take birth education. To enroll into our unique labor and birth preparation course, reach out to us at www.birthagni.com or scroll through all available prenatal and postnatal preparation classes. Thank you for listening, all in the spirit of birth, womanhood, and freedom. Remember, you got the bar. This podcast is about physiological birth and does not offer or claim to provide medical knowledge or diagnosis.